Hi guys, it's Cameron from the Mighty Blues. Instant match reaction. Everton 2, Watford 0 in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup at Goodison Park. Look, I want to be really positive about that. I want to be really upbeat about that. Obviously, it's a win, which was all that matters really. We're in the AF for the next round, which is all that matters. But you know what? I'm not happy with that performance, to be honest with you. I'm quite disappointed. I think it was far from convincing. It was quite uninspiring. And overall, I think it was quite dreadful, to be honest. Now, listen, we're in the half for the next round and we won the game, and that's all that matters. And I think the second half was a lot better than the first half, but to be honest, the first half couldn't have been, the second half couldn't have been much worse, because the first half was absolutely shocking. It really was. The movement of the entire team was just non-existent. The positioning of certain players was just non-existent, and it all just seemed like players were running around with no instruction and with no clue of what to do really, or where to be. And for me, that's a direct reflection on the manager. I think, don't get me wrong, the passing was dreadful throughout the game, and I think that's, you've got to point your finger at the players for that and not necessarily the manager. But the movement and the fact that players were running around looking like they didn't really know where to be or why they were where they were. Moise Keane, for example, who was taken off at half time, which I have absolutely no problem about, because I don't think he done anything in the game whatsoever. I don't think he done anything in that first half, and he should have been taken off. But you know what, you can't really blame the kid, because he's a 19-year-old lad. He's coming from a different country. He doesn't speak the language yet. He's very new to the culture. He's very new to the club, and he's being played out of position in a position that he doesn't know how to play. If you're going to play Moise Keane, you play him directly up top, whether it's on his own or whether it's with somebody else. He cannot play right wing because he doesn't understand how to play it. Marco Silva put him there. He didn't do anything of note, and he was taken off, which is fair enough because he didn't perform. But what do you expect, really? But like I said, the second half was marginally better. We upped the tempo a little bit. I think Marco Silva gave them a little bit of a boost in the half-time team talk, and we went out and we started to create a couple of more chances. Obviously, we hit the post a couple of times, and then Mason Allgate opened the score in about 75 minutes in with a decent little header, and then obviously Richarlison topping it off in the last 2 minutes to secure the win and to shut the 10 Watford fans up that travelled, because they were booing them all game for some weird, strange reason. But yeah, listen, like I said, I just wonder whether this game slightly papers over cracks a little bit. I wonder if this performance slightly papers over cracks a little bit. It wasn't good enough still, to be honest. It still wasn't inspiring. It still wasn't the type of performance that we come to expect and we come to want from an Everton team. Considering the team that was put out today, considering the front four that started the game, there was absolutely no excuse for there to be a lack of intensity. There was no excuse for there to be a lack of heart and a lack of passion. And in that first half, that was one of the worst Everton performances I've ever watched in my entire life, without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm not even exaggerating. And like I said, we grew into the game in the second half, but we've made Watford's reserves there look like an half-decent team, and Watford are the worst team in the Premier League, so to make the reserves look half-decent away from home is pretty embarrassing. And I stick with what I said, a couple of days ago. I think if we get an away draw, we're going to really struggle to maintain our place in this competition. Now, don't get me wrong, I think we do need to be positive, because we've won the game of football and we're in the act, and we're through to the next round, and we're getting closer to that obviously semi-final stage and the final stage, and getting closer ultimately to what is the goal of winning the competition. We're into the fifth round now. We're one round away from the semi-final, and then obviously going on to the final and going on to Wembley. But I just can't help but think if we get an away fixture, we'll massively struggle, and I can't help but think if we get an half-decent team at Goodison Park, we'll struggle, because today just wasn't good enough again. It really wasn't. There was I don't think there was any point in the game that I was marginally excited. There was any point in the game that I thought, we're actually putting in a decent performance here. Like I said, the second half was slightly better than the first half, but it couldn't have been much worse. Obviously, the 2 goals were nice to jump up and nice to celebrate, and I'm absolutely made up for Mason Allgate. I think he was probably the best player on the pitch, if I'm being honest with you. Other than Yerry Mina for me would probably get man of the match, despite the fact that he went off to 35-40 minutes into the game through an injury. So yeah, listen, it's still not good enough, is it? It really still isn't good enough. It's a win and we're through to the next round, and I think Marco Silva is more than likely going to keep his job now until that next round, because we're still in the competition. But whether he should or not's a different question. I still think it really wasn't good enough. It wasn't inspiring, and it wasn't a performance that got you off your seat. Obviously, like I said, massively made up for Mason. I thought he put in a really top performance. I thought the centre halves in the entire game, I thought Michael Keane done okay when he come on as well. Like I said, Yerry Mina was a standout player when he was on the pitch, and Mason Allgate done really well. I just want to touch on Jabril Sidibe's situation with Seamus Coleman. For me, Jabril Sidibe's our first choice right back now, without a shadow of a doubt. Seamus Coleman, listen, I love him. He's a club legend. He's given everything for this football club, and he will always be a club legend, and he will always be respected at this football club for what a brilliant man he is and for what a fantastic footballer he was. But at the end of the day, there's no room for sentiment in football, and there's no room for all that shit. He's not good enough anymore. Let's all just have it right. Let's all be honest with each other. He is not good enough anymore. He hasn't got the legs to go up and down the pitch, and he hasn't got the defensive capabilities anymore. So, if Marco Silva comes out and justifies the decision to take Sidibe out as that he was resting him for the Tottenham game at the weekend, then fair enough, I'll let him off with that one. But for me, Jabril Sidibe's our number one right back now, and he's our number one right back going forward. He plays on Saturday, on the weekend against Tottenham, and he continues in, week out for me, because Seamus Coleman should now take up a similar role to what Leighton Baines has done and drop out the team and become a backup at best, because I just don't think he's good enough. I don't think Luca Dean had his best game on the other side as well, to be honest with you. Richarlison, again, I think let the crowd affect him, but obviously got that goal towards the end of the game, like I said, to silence the 25 Watford fans that travelled to boo and sing "Is This a Library," considering the fact he didn't sell out their away end, which is a little bit strange. But anyway, listen, I don't want to be too negative within the app for the next round. Obviously, we've won the game of football in the end, so, smiles, happy days, but I don't want to be too, getting over the moon, because I think it would slightly be papering over cracks, and it would slightly be a little bit of a contradiction, because I just don't think we were good enough whatsoever today. I really, really don't. And I said it coming out of the ground to me dad, and I'll say it on the reaction: if we play like that on the weekend against Tottenham, we'll get absolutely slapped. I don't care what form Tottenham are in. I don't care how poor they've been. We'll get absolutely slapped if we play like that on the weekend against Tottenham. We weren't good enough today, but we got the win at the end of the day, and that's all that matters. We're in the app for the next round, and 2 decent goals towards the back end of the game. Let's hope we can take some sort of momentum and some sort of confidence from it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you soon.